Guys, do you have any regrets about your Harley Davidson touring motorcycles? Guys, my name is Rick and this is the HDVIBE channel, and in today's video I'm going to talk about 3 things plus another thing that I regret not doing soon enough on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles. And we'll get into all that right after this. So that's right, guys. There are certainly at least three things I regret not doing sooner on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles. And what I want to do is explore those with you. And also, as you were kind of going through this, leave comments down below and let me know some of the things that you regret not doing to your motorcycle sooner. So, number 1, I rode with the stock seat on my 2015 Street Glide Special for the better part of 20,000 miles. As we all know, these stock seats are just not good. They're just a bunch of foam over a plastic pan, and they're not going to hold up over the long term. It was my first Harley Davidson touring motorcycle, and honestly, I didn't know any better. I thought, I'm spending this type of money on a motorcycle, the seat should be adequate. And I will say, for those 20 or so thousand miles, it did the job. But unfortunately, I began to have tailbone problems. And that's when I discovered Saddlemen seats, and now I run Saddlemen seats on all of my Harley Davidson motorcycles right now. So on the Street Glide ST, I have the Saddlemen Dominator Solo Low seat. On the Road Glide Special, I actually have the San Diego Customs Pro Gripper seat. And then and one of my favorite seats, probably one of the most comfortable, although I will say the Dominator Low is pretty good on the ST, but on the CVO Street Glide, I actually am running the Touring Step Up. That thing to me is an incredible seat, looks good, and it can go the distance. So number 2, and this kind of gets into comfort as well, and that's going to be heated grips. I had no idea that heated grips could make such a change or positive impact on your riding experience, especially when it gets a little cooler in the spring, or those spring rides are a little cooler, or when it starts getting cool and cold in the fall and winter. I didn't have heated grips on my bikes until I bought the CVO in June of 2022. So that was the first time I ever experienced heated grips. As soon as I did that, and I rode with that bike with heated grips, as soon as the weather got a little cool in the fall, I purchased heated grips for the Road Glide Special. I'll have a card to a video that I did to show you how to install those and save you guys some money in dealer labor fees. But I installed those on the Road Glide Special, and now, as if you've been around the channel before, you know I just recently got the Street Glide ST. And I've also got heated grips that I will be installing on that bike. Obviously, when I'm recording this video now, we're getting into late spring and into summer, so I'm not really going to need them, but I will have those on before we get into the cooler weather. So the third regret that I have of not installing on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles is a good suspension. So I have to admit, I have only changed the suspension on one bike so far, and that is on the Road Glide Special. Now, I will say those shocks, which I use Legends Revos, and I know there's a lot of good ones out in the marketplace, I actually had those installed on my 2015 Street Glide Special. And again, I waited probably 20+ thousand miles, and it's one of those things, until you change it out, you don't know any difference, and you think that stock suspension is decent until you get a high quality aftermarket suspension put on your bike. My gosh, what a difference. Much better ride when riding solo. And then I will say the biggest difference was when I was riding 2-up, when Miss HDVIBE was with me. I wasn't bottoming out anymore. You do have to reset your sag when you go to 2-up, but it was a great upgrade. Certainly more expensive. I think those, if you get the Revos, they're close to maybe $900 or $800. You go to the Revo A's or some of the other ones, you're getting close to $1,000. So you do have to think about that. Is it worth it? I will say, I have a 13-inch shock on the ST. a 12-inch shock on the CVO, and I have a 13-inch Legends on the Road Glide Special. And I will say the Road Glide Special eats the bumps and takes the bumps much better than either one of the other two bikes. So probably another upgrade that I'll be working on. Obviously it's expensive, so have to start setting aside for the other two bikes. So the last thing that I thought that I would never do, and this is sort of outside of the regrets, but something that I was pleasantly surprised with that I've never done on any of my bikes, and that is doing a stage upgrade. So I've done stage 1 upgrades, and I have a full video that I'll link right up here. It's rather long, it does have chapters, but it goes step by step on how to do a stage 1 upgrade, including installing aftermarket headers. So I didn't do a stage 1 upgrade with a tuner on the Street Glide Special. Again, my first Harley Davidson, a 2015 Street Glide Special, until I had many thousands of miles, and I really didn't understand what impact it could have. So I recently did a stage 1 upgrade on the ST, and I have a video on that actually just came out last week. I'll put a card for that right up here. Huge improvement, maybe not necessarily in terms of torque and power, but throttle response. And it does feel like it has more power. They say you might get about a 5% increase in horsepower and torque. But for me, the most important thing was just that throttle response. It is much snappier. There's no sort of lag at the beginning when you're putting that on. So the other thing that I've done in terms of stage upgrades, I did a stage 2 cam upgrade on the Road Glide Special. This is something that I thought I would never do, but I decided to go ahead and do it. And I actually stayed all Screaming Eagle because I do have that bike under ESP. I do have the Screaming Eagle Pro Street tuner on it, but I put the Screaming Eagle 447 cam in it. And I will tell you the difference between the stage 1 and the 117s and the stage 2 on the 114 is just incredible. I have a video on that as well that I kind of compared those two in terms of the numbers, horsepower, torque, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll pop a card right up here. I'll also have links to all these videos down in the description so you can go right to those and not have to worry about these cards, because sometimes if you're watching on the TV screen, they don't pop up. So huge improvement, something I thought I would never do in terms of cracking open the engine. But really, it's a pretty non-invasive process. I actually had it done by a master tech at Gateway Harley Davidson, and I will say I have been nothing but pleased. Again, that's one of your, it's not super expensive, but it's certainly gonna cost you well over $1,000+, maybe up to $1,500, depending on your labor charges at your local dealer or an independent shop. Again, I stayed all Screaming Eagle. I also put some other parts in there like the cam plate and the high efficiency oil pump and tappets and some other things that we put in there that you may or may not have to do depending on the year of your bike. But I went ahead, since they're already in there, tried to make it as bulletproof as possible, and I will tell you I am extremely pleased. So I'm super happy about that. I probably will not do that on the CVO just because it is a CVO and I want to keep it as close to stock as possible. If I ever want to resell it in the future, I don't think there's really a need to do it. Now the ST, on the other hand, I'm debating. Do I do a big bore kit? Do I do a stage 2 with a cam? If I did a cam, the 432 cam that is in the ST or the 117 motors, whether it be the CVO or the STs, is pretty much, the specs are pretty close to this Screaming Eagle 447, which is more of a torque cam. So then I would have to actually jump up to the 462 cam, which, and looking at the numbers, and if I go that route, I'll share that with you guys, but there's not much difference between just putting that 462 cam in or doing a 122 kit, which gets you bigger cylinders, bigger pistons, but much more evasive. So Guys, that's my thoughts on some 3 regrets I have of not doing sooner on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles. Leave some comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you have any regrets on things that you wish you would have done sooner? A lot of these things, like I said, are really, you don't know until you do it, and then you realize how much better the bike feels in terms of comfort, how much better it performs, and really, you know, at the end of the day, makes it a much more enjoyable motorcycle and riding experience for you. So guys, if you like this type of content, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'd be honored if you considered subscribing to the channel. Hit that subscribe button right down below. And if you do subscribe, please leave a comment down below saying I subscribe so I can personally reach out and thank you for supporting the channel. Also, don't forget to hit that bell icon and select all so you don't miss out on any of my videos upcoming in the future. And I have 160 videos on tips, tricks, rides, reviews, and installs on my Harley Davidson touring motorcycles, which will cover the gamut of a 2023 Street Glide ST, a 2021 Road Glide Special, and the 2021 CVO Street Glide. So share it with your friends, guys. Share this video with your friends. And with that, guys, I'm going to leave you with this thought. Life is short. Get out and ride the bike. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.